What's up, Powers Unit family? Welcome to an evening show at the Powers Unit. I'm your host and I'm here to enhance your Coronication. I hope you guys stay tuned because we have an awesome show planned for you this evening. We've got an interview with Mr. George, an educated debate over a very hot topic, and a minute to win it challenge that you do not want to miss, so stay tuned. So to open things up, we've got a little bit of a monologue here. We've got some great writers on staff, and so I'm just going to read a couple of the things that they put together, okay? All right, so I know you're probably sitting stuck at home and you're bored out of your mind. That proves something that I've said for a while, that life should have background music. Since the start of the quarantine, I've realized that kindergartners have been right all along. Cooties are real. This entire pandemic is evidence that the cooties we all spread as elementary schoolers have now evolved and are now imposing their wrath. So because of this, on behalf of all who have graduated from elementary school, I'd like to apologize for the turmoil that we've caused. And out of respect for social distancing, I'm announcing today my retirement from the game of tag. I just can't bring myself to play that day. Corona Day. With all that said, it's time to bring out our first ever guest, Mr. George. All right, welcome back to an evening show at the Powers Unit. I'm your host, Femi Jalen, and we are so excited about the show today. So yeah, we're just gonna get things going. I have with me Mr. George. Say hello, Mr. George. I know yeah, we felt that. So we've got Mr. George here. He works at the Powers Unit Boys and Girls Club in the teen room, and we're just going to ask him some questions. So first, Mr. George, how are you doing with the quarantine, the Corona world, and just the new way that we're all living life now?
I'm pretty good at it, I feel. You know, I've spent my entire life social distancing, and so it came easy. I will say it's much more difficult to not do anything when you aren't allowed to do anything, because it makes you want to do more.
Right.
It's like when they tell you to wash the dishes when you were about to, but now you don't want to.
It happens every time. Good. Okay. Our next question for you, Mr. George. Everyone is dying to know, what kind of deodorant do you use?
Most of the time I use Speed Stick. It's the most dependable for me, and I buy in bulk. It's pretty cheap. It works for me. You know, I work with a few kids who need to find out what dependable deodorant means.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I'm not making fun of anyone in particular, but I'm a Speed Stick kind of person.
Speed Stick kind of guy, and I think when you're choosing a deodorant, that's important for you. You know, what's just dependable for you.
Yeah.
In the world of...
Give it a couple, like, tuck the head in, sniff.
Yeah.
Bring it home.
Is that how you do it? You just like discreetly.
Yeah, I just gotta make sure no one's looking for.
Okay, good. Okay, Mr. George, our last question for you. So if there were no travel bans, if there were no flight cancellations, things like that, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Definitely a tie between the UK, and going to Japan.
Okay.
Because I've just always been interested in different cultures.
Yeah.
And also interested in seeing where our language came from compared to the proper level of English that they claim to have in the UK.
Yeah.
Good.
That's good. Okay. Absolutely. Okay, well, moving on. While George is here, we're going to let him be a part of this next conversation. Our viewers have been phoning in, dying for us to cover this topic. This debate is probably one of the largest debates that people are discussing right now. I mean, you've got gun control. You've got, what else is there? Gun control.
Whether or not the quarantine should be happening.
Quarantine, just everything. Stimulus,
and
big debate. So this one, though, I think it takes the cake. does pineapple belong on pizza?
It is borderline evil to
Okay.
put pineapple on pizza. It's villainy. That's why you want to do it.
I think it did come from a time when there was nothing else to put on the pizza. That I think that's probably the root of the history of this concoction. But there's only one way to find out.
Yeah. I could say we could probably put our differences aside to fight an evil I've seen recently.
I think we
of
could.
Strawberries on pizza.
No way.
That's one of the
That's too far. That's too far. We'll have to cut that out. We'll have to
I
cut
have to
that out.
find these people.
But on the first topic, the pineapple, there is an expert that we know of that could probably really help us out on this matter. His name is Dr. Chip Hammondover, and he is a professor of humanology at the Northern College of the South University. So he has told us that today on our show we could phone him in. So let's do that now. You've got that.
I'll call him.
We'll call him.
Hammond over.
Yeah, make sure the volume's all the way up there.
Hello, you have reached Northern College of South University Professor of Humanology, Dr. Chip Hammondover.
Ah,
For you today.
Dr. Hammondover, this is Femi Jowlin. How are you?
Jimmy Jalen, how are you, pal?
It has. It's been a very long time. How is your study and your research going?
Oh my goodness, if you only knew. I am currently trekking through the jungles of southeastern Eurasia, looking for the ever-illustrious Ubawatse.
That is extremely exciting. Tell us about this. What do you think you can find from this research?
The secrets of life itself. If you only knew.
That sounds pretty special. We will not keep you long from your research, but we just wanted to call in. We know that in your earlier years of study, you studied exotic fruits, and one of which was pineapple.
Ah, yes, the pineapple. Well, first of all, oh, Phoebe, oh, buddy, old pal, why has it been a century since I was last on your show?
That is a very interesting question. You know, that there have been some juggling between networks. Things have been sorted out. My attorneys.
I have loved all the Hammondover episodes myself.
The Hammondover episodes were great, but you know, it's part of the game.
Did you see the one with the rhinoceroses?
I'm afraid of rhinos, actually, so I probably didn't tune in on that one.
Terribly awful of you. One of the greatest episodes ever.
I know that one was possibly the most afraid that I've ever been doing this show. Second to today's episode. Dr. Hammondover.
Tell me what you've got going on.
Yes, Dr. Hammondover, we have an issue that has just invaded our country right now. You know that there are many debates, many issues that society must face and sort through.
Sure.
This may perhaps be one of the greatest of our time, and that is, does pineapple belong on pizza?
The old pineapple pie question. So, does pineapple go on your pizza pie? I'd be curious, what do you think?
Well, I am under the impression that pretty much anything can go on a pizza as long as it's paired well with other ingredients. So, you know, I don't mind, but Mr. George here...
I believe it's an evil onto society to put a fruit on your pizza.
You're against the mighty pineapple.
Are you against the mighty pineapple?
Yes, actually. I've been keeping that to myself, but the texture of a pineapple just completely overwhelms its flavor and makes it unedible to me.
Oh, so George, right?
Yes.
So have you ever seen a pineapple in the wild?
I have not, actually.
They are a great, massive fruit, right? Massive fruit.
Kind of like my head.
And they, I'm sorry?
Would it be like massive in like regard in proportion to my head is to its body?
Yes. If you have ever taken a pineapple off of a tree, did you notice that it has those long leaves coming out of the top of it? They resemble hair, George. Hair. And if you notice, you could, if you wish, you could do some little crazy eyeballs on the pineapple, and you could put a little nose on it and a little mouth, and you'd have like a little Mr. Potato Head pineapple, George.
Dang. Yeah. So it just sounds like they're versatile for anything but pizza.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm getting at, man. I'm just saying they're a versatile, large fruit, okay? You haven't even gotten to the inside yet. Have you ever opened the pineapple?
Actually, yes.
So they are juicy, golden, fruity, delicious, wonderful fruits. And if you pair them with a little bit of marinara sauce, maybe some American cheese, yes, you got to be American, right? A little bit of American cheese, maybe some bread crust, a little garlic, little mozzarella sauce, even or sausage, mozzarella cheese, maybe. You pair those things together and you have a pineapple pizza, my friend. And when I say it's golden and delicious, I mean it will send your taste buds on a sail through the Antarctic Ocean, across the great Mount Everest, and right into the arms of the mysterious, ever illustrious Hoover Watson.
I'm sorry, so you're saying that indulging in pineapple pizza may awaken one's senses to the whereabouts of the Hoover Watson?
That's exactly correct. That is exact. I could not have stated that any more perfectly. And to have a Hoover Watson is to have the answers to life, my friend.
So, wrapping things up here, Dr. Hammondover, just to clarify, is saying that pineapple pizza is the answer to life.
That's correct, yes. Way to wrap that up, sir.
Well, Dr. Hammondover, we appreciate you taking time out of your research and your study to straighten things out for us here. Your knowledge and your insight is very valuable, and we appreciate it very much. And we do intend on bringing you on the evening show many more times. So thank you, Dr. Hammondover.
Hey, thank you, Timmy Jalen, man. I love you. I hope you take care. If I get a hold of this Hoover Watson, I'll be sure to bring it down to you.
Fantastic. All right, Dr. Hammondover, thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
All right, folks, so you heard it. Pineapple pizza is the answer to life. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back at it here on an evening show at the Powers Unit right after this. Do you feel not good? Are you tired of feeling not the best? Have you noticed that you frequently feel not healthy? 331 million Americans feel the same way and are seeking answers. Introducing Coronafil. Coronafil does nothing to make you feel better. It merely helps you know you could feel worse. Side effects may include fever, fatigue, shortness of breath, cough, headaches, longness of breath, diarrhea, loss of sight, smell, taste, and toenails, vomiting, hallucinations, and nightmares. Other side effects may include dizziness, numbness, tingling, an exponential increase in flatulence, songs stuck in your head, simultaneous weight loss and weight gain, stiffness, unusual urges to view Hallmark movies, cold chills, and pain. Talk to your doctor immediately if you experience any of these symptoms, and we mean any. Coronafil may not be right for you, but if you feel not good, you could always feel worse. So what's stopping you? Take control of what you can. Be more, because you should, if you can want to. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to an evening show at the Powers Unit. I'm your host, Femi Jalen, and it is time for our last segment this evening. I have with me Mr. McKinley and I have Mr. Logan, both from the Johnson Teen Center. They are here helping us today on the show, and it is time for our Minute to Win challenge. So here's how it's going to work. Mr. McKinley is going to draw a portrait of Mr. Logan, and likewise for Mr. Logan, and at the end of 1 minute, the person's drawing that is the most accurate of their competitor wins. So here we go. Do we have a timer ready? All right. On your mark. Get set. Pencils down. Oh my. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. All right, these are going to be good. Okay, so Mr. McKinley has drawn Mr. Logan, and I will bring that to you now. And Mr. Logan has drawn Mr. McKinley, and I will bring that to you now. All right, it is time to choose a winner. I believe the winner is Mr. Logan. Thanks, guys, for watching. That's all the time that we have. Tune in next week for a brand new episode of an evening show at the Powers Unit. I'm your host, Femi Jalen. Thank you and good night.